Hello everyone, this is Jennifer Biedermann from Jennifer Biedermann Jewelry. Welcome back to another tutorial. I have something really interesting today. I'm really excited about it. And I searched YouTube and I don't see this designs anywhere. So maybe I'm the first, maybe not, I don't know. But what I've done here is I've made two pieces. This is using the cubic right angle weave, and I'm going to go into great detail on how to do that. Okay. This focal piece here, I designed this focal piece and this one. And I made this out of clay, and I baked it and I buffed it, or I sanded it and I buffed it and I put Renaissance wax on it and everything. Now, if you're not interested in making the clay focal pieces, I'm going to put some things up in my shop that is available for you to buy if you want. Now, there's going to be all kinds of different designs that you can incorporate in your beadwork, and it makes it really interesting. And you can cut this and manipulate it to the size you want. So if you want to make something teeny tiny or something larger, you can cut it exactly how you want it. So I made this in a rectangle and this one in a circle. But let's say you want to do like a weird design, you can totally cut the clay the way you want it. So I'm going to show you how to do this. And I'm so excited. I think right now this is my favorite thing to do. So let me just pause the video and I'm going to give you the material list you're going to need to make these fantastic pieces. I'll be right back. Okay, so here's your material list. First of all, to start, the beadwork. Okay. For the beadwork, I'm using a size 10 beading needle. I'm using some thread. You can use Fireline, Wildfire, beading thread. Today I'm using 1G. Because it's gray, and I'm going to be using silver beads. But you can use any thread you want. Now, so to do this here, to do a two-tone, you need two size 11 seed beads. That's it. If you just want to do it one color, then just do one color. It's completely up to you. It's your design. Now, for this one, I'm going to be using light pewter silver, and I'll be using a, what's this called? I don't know what this is called. It's like hematite. I don't know what it's called. It's a no, gunmetal. Sorry, gunmetal bead. And I'm also going to be incorporating into this, maybe, I'm not sure yet because it's the first time I'm doing it, is some Montes. You don't have to use this. Again, it's your design. Now, depending on your focal piece, you want to choose crystals, the Montes, that will kind of be a contrast and to match what you're doing here. Because you don't, like, see here I have some orange and some yellows and some golds. I'm not going to use like a purple. You know what I mean? So choose your Montes accordingly. And I have some gunmetal here. I have fuchsia and I have pink. Why did I bring these out? Because I think the clay focal piece I'm going to use is this, which has a lot of fuchsia and pink in it. But this is, when I'm talking about a veneer, this is what I'm talking about. This is a clay piece. It's a lot of work involved in this, okay? Now, it's a piece of clay. This is polymer clay, and this will last for years. It will always be like this until you bake it, okay? So I made a cane and I made a veneer. And I'm going to show you all this when we get to the point where we need to cut it and fit into our piece, okay? Now, I keep it in parchment paper just so the dust doesn't get on it. But for example, if I use this. I'll use maybe blue and green. I have some black in here. And, you know, I have all kinds of veneers here that I can use. So if you decide that you don't want to get into clay and start making these designs and you just love beading and that's all you want to do and just incorporate pieces, I'm going to be coming up with veneers. And also, if you want, there's going to be some canes available. Okay. This is a cane. That means I built this design. See this here? Look how great that is. Look at those beautiful colors. Hopefully you can see that. Anyway, these canes you slice and you make a veneer. Okay? So I don't know if I'm going to do that in this video, but maybe I will because I like to do things A to Z. So there's no guesswork. All right. Now, when you're using clay, if you want to buy the veneers or the canes, you will definitely need a rolling apparatus. Okay, this is just for clay rolling. And you'll need something to cut your clay. And just a second, I need to find it. And here it is. It's just a cutter that you can get at your local Michael store, as well as this when you're working with clay. Now, if you don't want to go and buy yourself a slicer, just an X-Acto knife is fine. Okay. So that's it. So let's get started. We're going to start with a cubic right angle weave. I am going to go into detail with this because I know that it can be sometimes frustrating to figure out how to do this. And so I will go into detail about that. So let's get started. I'm really excited. I'll be right back. Okay. I am going to be showing you this cubic right angle weave with some bright size 8 seed beads. I started the video with these size 11s and forget it, they're too small, and if you're new at cubic right angle weave, you're not going to be able to follow. So I nixed that. I brought my other beads out. And actually I put myself a 6-pound fire line on my needle. I would recommend this more than the 1G because it's more of a stiff thread. All right, let's get started. I'll show you how to do it, but the project is going to be with the silver size 11s. Okay, so I'll make that later. All right, so to start this fun weave, pick up 4 seed beads. 4 seed beads, bring them back down your thread. So back through the 4 beads, creating a circle. Now, if you know how to do cubic right angle weave, you can totally fast forward this and see how we do the clay part. Okay. Now what I'm doing is I'm just going to make a couple of knots to turn this into a circle, which is going to be our first unit. Okay, we will cut this tail later, but for now I'm using it just to hang on to something. Now, what I want to do is I want to get away from this knot. So I'm just going to sew up and away from the knot. So this is going to be the base, our first unit. Now, what we're doing is we're creating a cube, okay? Right angle weave is just creating units after units after units to make a long piece. But in this case, we're creating the base, then we're going to create the sides and the top. So this is how we start. Now I'm coming out of this bead here. I need to create a second unit. So I'm going to be sharing this top bead. So this time I'm just going to pick up 3 beads. 3 beads, and I'm going to sew back through this bead to create a second unit. I'm just going to, so there you have 2 units. I'm just going to flip it so that I can sew up through this bead and through this top bead to get into position to add our 3rd unit. So we're just going to be doing 3 units. And then we're going to create our cube from those 3 units. So now again, I'm going to pick up 3 beads, my thread's coming out of this bead, I will sew through this bead, creating the third unit. So now I have 3. I'm just going to flip so that it's easier for me to sew up. So now I need to get to this top bead. So just moving through my beads. So now I have 3 units. So what I want to do with this is create a cube. So see this top bead and this bead here. These 2 beads will be shared to create the last unit to make the cube. So what I'll do is I'm going to close this up like a taco, just like this, to bring these 2 beads together. It is very fiddly when you start, but once you do the second cube, it's a breeze after that. Okay, forget that bead there. We need to share these 2. These was that top bead and the other bead put together. So now I need to make another unit. My thread is coming out here. I need to add a bead here, and I need to add a bead here. So I'm going to pick up 1 bead and sew through this bead here. Be careful not to drop this, okay? Because if you're new to this and you drop it, you will not really know where you started and ended. Like, look, I dropped it, but since I know kind of what I'm doing here, I'm just going to try not to drop it. Okay, now we have 3. I need to pick up another bead and finish my unit by sewing through here. Now I have my cube, but before we start on the next step, is I need to reinforce this and sew them all together. So I'm going to go 1, 2, just sew around the beads. So we just need to make sure that they're all sewn together. Sorry, my thread is, I'm working behind a camera here. And then I'm going to sew through these beads. So that now this unit is all anchored together. Okay, now it doesn't look like much. It looks like a little ball of nothing. But if you look at it, you have a unit here, you have a unit here, you have a unit here, you have a unit there. It's in a cube. Now on the other sides of these cubes, okay, they're not sewn together. So I'm gonna just move my way up to just sew this little cube together. You can leave it like that and do it at the end if you want, but I think I'll do it now. See that little unit there? And see how it's not together? I need to get that sewn together. So there's a little unit. I'm just going to sew around. Now, doing these size 11 seed beads, this is very fiddly. But like I said, just once you do the second one, you're good to go. Because then you can see what's happening. I'm getting caught in everything here on the side. Okay, So my thread is coming, we're going to work off this unit here. You have 4 beads. We need to create another cube because now we have 1 cube. And I'm coming out of this seed bead here. We're going to create 4 walls. So we're picking up 3 seed beads. I'm coming out of this unit. This bead. So I'm going to sew through, but what I'll do is just sew right through the next one. So now I've created a unit on this side. See that little unit there? Okay, now we need to create a unit this way. So now that I'm coming out of this bead, you know what? It's focusing on my beads in the background. That's why. Let me get that out of the way. Okay, so here you have one side unit. We need to make one here, one here, one here. So stay with me here. It looks painful, but it's actually pretty easy. Okay, see these beads here? These are my base beads. This is one wall. I'm coming out of this seed bead. I'm going to pick up 2 seed beads. I'm going to go down this side bead and then the bottom bead. I've just created another unit. Pull your thread. So I've just created 2 walls here. See, so now this side unit is done. Now I need to sew through the next base bead. Oh gosh. Okay. Now I'm out this side base bead. We need to create another unit here. We have 1, we have 2. We're picking up just 2 to create that side unit. So you're going through this bead and this bead here. Now we have 3 walls. So now see the top, we have 1, 2, 3, and we have 1, 2, 3. Now we just need to do the last unit. So we're going to go up this bead. We have 3 beads here, so we're going to pick up 1 bead to create that last wall unit. So we're going to just go through this bead, then this bead, oops, sorry, I've got a knot. Let me just pull that through. So now we've completed this last side unit. So now we need to get ourselves to the top. So we're just going to sew through this bead. Now here's the top. So once we get to the top, we sew through all 4 beads. I'm going to be doing this a few times with you because when we start, it looks like absolutely nothing, but then it turns into something gorgeous. Sew through all 4 beads. Okay, now we start again. Now we have something to hang on to. Again, if you see here, 2 units, 2 units, 2 units. Now we start again. Starting from the top. Pick up, first of all, this is going to be your mantra when you're starting. You're picking up 3 beads, then you're picking up 2 beads, 2 beads, 1 bead. 3, 2, 2, 1. That's your mantra. So pick up 3 beads. We're creating our unit. We're coming out of here. We're going to go through here and then here. One unit. Turn. Pick up 2 beads. Come down through that side bead and the base bead, then the next bead. This is going to be easier for you if you do it this way. So now we have 2 units. I'm coming out of this base bead. I'm picking up 2 beads. I'm going down the side bead and the base bead. Now we have 3 walls. We need to attach this bead, and this bead. So we're only going to pick up 1 bead. So I'm coming out of this base bead. I'm going to sew up through the side bead. I need to attach these 3, so now I'm just picking up 1. And now I'm going through the side bead, the bottom bead, and we're done our last unit. We just need to get ourselves to the top. So now we're going to sew up. Oh, I'm getting caught in everything here. Here's our top. What do? First, we reinforce. So we sew, once we get to the top, we sew the 4 beads. Ready for the next unit. We're going to do this a few times so you can get it. Now I really have something to hang on to much better. Now I have 3 units. Now I'm creating another unit. I'm coming out of this bead, pick up 3. Go through this bead, this base bead, this base bead. Created a wall. Just turn it, pick up 2 beads, go through that side bead and the base bead, and then the next base bead. See how much easier it is now that you have something to hang on to? Turn. You are coming out of this base bead. This is the side bead. Pick up 2 beads, go down the side bead, the next bead, you have 3 walls now. Turn. Need to attach this unit, this last unit. So I'm going up this bead, picking up to finish off my top bead. So I'm going down the side bead, the base bead, going up the side bead, turn to the top, hold on to it like this, go through all 4 beads. just to attach them all together. Okay, now look what we have. We've got 4 cubes. This is one side. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we have that on each side. Now, let's stay together here, and we're going to make another unit, starting from the top. So this is all you're doing. Build, 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 build. So I'm picking up 3 beads, going through this base bead, the next base bead, turn, pick up 2 beads, go through this side bead, the base bead, then the base bead, turn, pick up 2 beads, go down that side bead, base bead, turn, go up this bead, pick up 1 bead to finish off your unit, go down the side bead, the base bead, up the side bead, turn the top towards you, hold it like this, go through all the beads. There you have it. Let's do that one more time. Hold your work towards you like this. Your thread's coming out here of a base bead. Pick up 3. Go through that base bead and the next base bead. Turn, pull, ready for the next unit. Pick up 2, go through the base bead, the side bead, the base bead, the next base bead. I have 2 walls here. Pick up 2 beads, go through the side bead, the base bead, turn, up that side bead, turn, and now we need to add that last bead. Now I hope I didn't mess up the instructions, and I hope you stick with it. And if I didn't do a good enough job, please look up cubic right angle weave, and you're going to get a lot of YouTube videos to show you how to do this. Maybe I jumbled it up, or maybe I made it easy, who knows. Okay, and that's it. And that you're just going to continue. Now, when you get to the length you want, this is going to be one side. Then we're going to be making a square. Okay, so now, depending on the size you want, just let's say we're done here. I'm just going to see we're coming out of this bead here. Now we need to start moving this way. So I'm going to do this because now this is going to be my top. Okay. So if you want to, you can hold it this way and pick up 3 beads, go through this. Now that's going to be called our base bead. So now we've made one wall on this side. we will go through the next base bead. Okay, so this is a wall here. Now we need to, again, we're doing the same thing, we just change directions. Pick up 2 beads, go down that side bead, the base bead, and I would just sew right through the next base bead just to get myself into position for the next unit. Now I have my 2 walls. Okay, this is the base bead. Pick up 2 beads, go down that side bead and the base bead. Pull. Now I have my 3 walls. Same thing. Now we just have to close that up. So what I'll do is I'll just, actually I'm going to go through this base bead and then up this one because I think it'll be easier. Just in the angle I'm going in. Up this bead. And now I'm just going to close the unit by adding the last bead. See? Now I'm going to pick up 1 bead, go down that side bead, the base bead, up this bead, and now here's my top. So now I need to just sew around these 4 beads. Okay, so now you made a turn. So here, if you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 units, you will do 5 because you're counting this one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, then you move down, then you go this way, then you attach it here. Okay, so create your square or create your rectangle, whatever shape you want. And then we will go to the next step because now I'm going to actually build this with my 11 seed beads because these are massive beads for this project. Okay, so if just keep rewinding and until you get it, because once you get it, once you get the gist of this, you will absolutely love this weave. Okay, so just stick with it, don't give up. I'll be back to show you the end piece. So I've completed almost the piece, and with my 11 seed beads, I did 10 units, 10, 10, 10. Now here, I just have 1 unit to add here, and it's not adding a unit. I need to attach here to here. So let me move in a little bit. Okay, so now my thread is coming out of this bead. My unit has to share this bead and this bead. So what am I doing? I'm only going to put 1 bead here, 1 bead there. So I'm going to pick up a bead. I'm going to go through this bead. And it's tight here. Oh no, it's okay. So let me just pull that. So here is my bead I added. Now I'm going to pick up another bead and I'm going to go through this seed bead right here, and that's going to close it up, and I'll do the same thing on the other side. Because now what's happening is on the inside, this bead is sharing the beads with the other side. So now what I'm going to do is just let me go through these beads again just to reinforce. And then I'm going to move my way to the other side and do the same thing. And then I'm done my cubic right angle weave square. I hope it wasn't too difficult to learn or to execute on your part. Just keep at it and all will be well. Okay, so I'm reinforcing. Oh, okay. Now I'm going to flip it, and now I have to do the same thing. Oops, completely out of camera. I have to do the same thing on this side. So I'm going to move up this bead here. Let me pick this up. Now where's my, these two beads need to share a bead. So I'm up here, I'm going to go through this bead, and I'm just going to do the same thing and then reinforce. Go through this bead. And I only need to do it on two sides because adding these beads are adding to the other units that needed that bead. Okay, so there you have it. There's your piece. And let me reinforce this, and then I'm going to be right back to show you what we will do next. Okay, so I'm done reinforcing, and now you have to decide if you want to add a second color bead if you want, and to do that you just get yourself to, and you only have to do one side because the other side is going to be with clay. So you just fill in your bead here. Now also right at this point, you're going to decide if you're going to add the Montes. Now I need to, if I'm going to use this veneer of clay here, I'm going to see what I'm going to put for a Monte. Now, I can do the fuchsia because there's a lot of fuchsia in here, or I can leave the base silver and gunmetal and just put a crystal, or I don't have to put anything at all. So if I put that there, you can't really see it. So this is what I do when I'm designing. I just kind of just place things there and see how they look. Is it going to be too much? Should I just leave it? Should I add them? I'm not sure actually. I don't know if I'm going to add these Montes. I guess I can even I can add them after if I wanted to. Let's see. I'm coming out of the top seed bead. A Monte, you have 4 holes. In the back you have a hole going this way and a hole going that way, like a crisscross. So let me just bring this down here, and we're going to see how that looks. If I were to add this, I'm coming out of this seed bead. I'm just going to go across. No, I'm going to go across opposite the bead across it. And if I don't like it, I can just pull it out. Now, I'm wondering if this is going to be too much, especially with that colorful clay. And you know what? It's sitting up too high, and I think I'm not going to do that. But if you want to do it, go ahead and do it, because, you know, it's your own, what you want to make. It's not what I want to make. Now, can I get out of this thing? Okay, no, I'm not using that. It's too much. Once I'm done, I'm going to figure out if I'm going to hang it like this, and I may do a drop down here. We'll see. But for now, I'm going to put that aside. So what I'm going to do is just fill in these gaps with my second color seed bead, which is the gunmetal. And I'm going to go all the way around to fill in these gaps. And what that's also going to do is hide the thread. If, let's say, you use a different color thread and you can really see it, well, this will hide that. So I'm going to fill these gaps going all the way around, and once I'm done that, then we're going to work with the clay. Okay, so I've completed my piece, and by the way, I did put the beads on the inside as well. So here is the piece. Now we're going to add some clay. So here is my little veneer that I made out of the cane that I designed, cut it up and put it all out. You know what? I'm going to have another video to show you how to lay it all out. If you want to buy a cane and do it yourself or buy the actual veneer, I'm going to have this in my store, in my JenniferBiedermannJewelry.com. Okay, so here we have the veneer that I chose to use. Now you have to decide what you want to show up in the middle. So I'm just going to move it around. Do I want that look? I may move it like this and say, okay, I want that. So I'm just going to kind of move it around, and I think I don't want it to hang like this. I do want it to hang in a square. So I think I'm going to just put it right there, and I'm just going to make a little imprint so I know where I'm cutting. Just going to push that down, pull it out. There's my little imprint, if you can see it. No, you can't see it on camera, but see that little imprint I have there? But anyway, when you do this, you'll see it. And what I'll do is I'm just going to take my knife here and just cut my piece where I want it. Now, if you do buy these veneers and you have some scraps left over, don't throw it out. I'll show you what to do with it in another video. There's no such thing as scrap clay. Well, they call it scrap clay, but you can always use it to make some fun pieces. Okay, so there's my little piece. Now, when I look at the thickness here and I look at this, well, it's not going to really work. So I got myself some scrap clay, just some scrap clay, and what I'll do is I'm going to set this on top, and I'm going to cut around with my blade to make another level so that it fits in there. See these little pieces? I never throw them out because I use them. Okay, now I'm going to take my roller so that everything just bonds together. I'm not pushing hard. Always pick up your clay with a knife. Now that's bonded together. Now we're going to see if that fits. It's not quite fitting. So I'm just going to continue to just slice a little bit. Slice a bit. Put that piece aside. Slice. See the little piece I'm just cutting here? And let's see what that does. No, I need to slice a bit more. Now I'm just going to place my piece on it, and I'm going to see how the clay moves. It's okay. That's what is fantastic about this. You know, when you have a stone that just, you know, you'd like to use it, but it's not going into your design. That's what clay comes in. So look at that. Look at that. I'm so excited. Hold on a second. Now let me just pick this up carefully. Look at that. I'm beyond myself. Sorry. This gets me very excited. Okay, so what you want to do with the clay, make sure that there's no finger marks, or if there is, I'm going to show you a process on how to finish this once it's baked. You just pet your clay. You pet it. You talk to it. You pet. Just make sure it's sitting in there. Push the sides in so that's really adhered to the clay. Okay. But I'm going to show you how to finish this after. Because like I said, I like to do things from A to Z in my tutorials. Okay, now, I'm not too worried about my finger marks because I sand and I buff. And I'll show you the materials you'll need for that. Okay, now I'm going to pick this up with my knife. Look at the other side. Not so pretty. So what we're going to do is I'm actually going to use the same pattern and I'm going to put it on the back side. So, you know what, it'll be a reversible maybe. Okay, so what I'll do is I'm just going to place it here. And you don't have to use your veneer if you don't want to waste it, but you can also put a solid color on the back. But I want to show you, if you don't want to get into buying clay, but you just want to buy the veneers, this is what you can do. Okay, so I'm just going to cut here and cut here. I'll take that off. Now this may have made a little bit of an imprint with my beads, so I'm just going to take my roller very gently. I'm not pushing at all, like not hard, I mean. And now we are going to put this on the other side. Look at the other side. Okay. Now, I'm just going to make sure everything's aligned properly, because then we're going to cut the excess clay. Push down. Pick up your clay with your knife. Again, you can get this at Michael's, very cheap. Okay. Now, what I did not mention to you before, and I should have done it, but I didn't do it. But anyway, what we're going to do is just, because we don't want the pieces showing on this side, we're going to take our knife and we will just shave off some clay, shave it off. Go around all sides. You can manipulate this with your fingers. It's the beauty of clay. Oh my God, this is stunning. This would be a great pendant just like that. Okay. Now, what we're going to do, I'm going to show you two options, okay? Place this down, pet it with your finger. Or you can get some gloves so you don't have your finger marks in there. Look at this piece. I don't know if it's focusing, but anyway, what I'm seeing in real life is absolutely stunning. So you look like that. The back. Okay. Now this is what you can do next, okay? Now you have to decide, am I going to make a pendant? Am I going to make a ring? Wouldn't that be a fabulous ring? I'll do another tutorial on how to make a ring with this. Or you have to figure out how you're going to hang this. Now, you can bake this and then make yourself, or do it now or after. I would do it after. Make yourself a bale of beads. Or this is what you can do. I have my jump rings here, and I have many of these jump rings because I do chainmail as well. Just pick a jump ring that you want to use. Here, I'm just going to grab one of these. Now this jump ring is still open, so I'm going to take my pliers just to close it up. Sorry, close it up there. And what I'm going to do is just turn it. I'm going to just look at the front, see if I want to hang it like this or I want to hang it like this, but I like the square. Let me just take a look here. This is going to be my bottom. So I'm going to flip that over and look what I'm going to do. I'm going to take this jump ring. See the open part here? I'm just going to place it right there. I'm going to push it into my clay, ever so gentle. And then I'm going to take another little piece of my veneer. See, what I should have showed you, and I was too excited and too fast before, I should have put it in between before I put this piece on. But here we are. So I'm going to cut myself a piece of veneer here. Let me see. And this little, I had to charge it. So I cut myself a little piece of my veneer. I put my jump ring there, and I'm just going to put this piece right on top. And I'm going to center it and gently push. I'm going to gently push that in so that that jump ring is not going anywhere after it's baked. Now, you can push it with your fingers. Now you see, that's fine, but I would recommend you put the jump ring before that, but that's okay. Okay, now let's look at the front. Before we put it in the oven, we just want to make sure that it's exactly square, exactly the way you want it. Pet your clay. Turn it around, pet your clay. I tend to play with this a lot before I put in the oven. So preheat, actually you don't have to preheat. You can just, a lot of them say preheat, but I start putting this in cold. So I set my oven at 275 Celsius, and I'm going to leave this in for about 30 to 40 minutes. The beads won't melt. Don't worry. You can even put paper. Nothing's going to go on fire at 275. It just warms it. Now what this is going to do, it's going to bake the clay. Then, by the way, don't forget about the bonus. While this is baking, I'm going to show you what to do with the scraps that you have left. Like I said, never throw your scraps out because you're going to see the magic that happens with scraps. So I'm going to put this in the oven for about 30 to 40 minutes. And while that's baking, I'm going to show you the bonus. Okay, so while the pendant is baking, I'm going to show you a little bonus here. What to do with your scraps. You have a bunch of scraps here. Don't throw this in the garbage. What you're going to do is just put them all together like this. You're going to roll it And you can make another piece of jewelry out of this. So what I do is I roll it, and then with this piece I'll just start twisting. Twist, push it together, roll it, push, twist again, push it together, and then what I'll decide to do is the pendant that I want to make out of this. So I'm going to make this into a little rectangle here. I'm going to push it, or into a square, but rectangle shape. And then I think I'll take my ruler here, and what I'm going to do is just cut this in half. Look at the magic when you do this. Cut this in half, open it up, look what we've got. It's a little mirror image. And you're going to, hold on. You can see that. It's an mirror image. And I see that little piece of green I put in there. See what happened? And you want to align that. I will roll this out. You can even use this in your in the bead. Like, hold on. Now I'm going to take my knife. Let me just pick this up so you can take a look at it. That's why I say don't throw your scraps out. Look at all the detail in there. I hope you can see it, because I see so much detail. And you can just, again, make a pendant out of this, or shape it into a cab, and, you know, shape it the way you want. And you can bead embroider this. I mean, or, like I said, you can do your right angle weave and go around and make another pendant out of your scrap. Now, the back side is not so great, but actually it's not too bad. Now, you see a line here? You just pet your clay and you kind of manipulate it so that everything is knitted together. So you don't see that line. See, I don't see it anymore. But that is the little bonus of how to use your scrap clay. I'm telling you, you don't see it on camera, but I can focus this for you so that you can actually see it. No, you can't see it. But there's so much, like I said, so much detail in here. Pop a jump ring in the back or slip it right down here. Bake it, sand it, buff it, put a little shellac on it or whatever just to shine it up, and you have yourself a little pendant. And I'm going to use that in something, that's for sure. Okay, so when we come back, I'll show you what to do with your finished pendant that we've been working on today. Okay, so it's out of the oven and it's nice and hard. It's a very nice weight, like a stone. And you can leave it like this. I put a jump ring here and it's ready to hang on a chain or a nice leather cord, or you can start finishing this. Now, if you have a lot of lumps and bumps here that you can feel, because if you're selling this, okay, what do people do? They pick it up, they look at it, they run their fingers across it, they see the quality of it. And if they feel lumps and bumps, they'll most likely put it down, okay? So, but if you're making this for yourself and you just want to leave it like this, no problem. Now, with your veneer, when you buy your veneer, by the way, it's going to come in a 3x3 piece, just like this. So out of this piece, you can make 1, 2, 3, 4 of these pendants, or you can make smaller pendants or whatever. Okay, you're also, I'm going to send you some sandpaper, a little bit bigger than this, but I cut these, if I'm sanding a piece and I don't want a huge piece, I just sand it. Now, this is a wet, dry sandpaper, very important. You need to get wet, dry sandpaper. This is reusable. But I'm going to show you this way and the way, what I use. Again, if you don't want to invest because you don't want to start playing with clay and making clay and all that, I have a poly fast because I work with a lot of clay and I finish a lot of my clay pieces, and I don't go to the gym a lot to have big muscles to do that by hand. So what you need to to sand this is you just need a little thing of water. Okay, let me put that aside. And you start with the lowest grit. Now, the grits that I would be sending you is a 320, a 400, and a 600. Okay, so what you do is you start with the lowest grit. You place your whole piece in the water, just like that, and you just start sanding. Okay, you do this, you feel it, you put it back in the water, and I would do this 1 minute per sandpaper. Now, if you're using sandpaper, what I recommend when you're done using it is just dip it in the water, get that clay off as much as you can, and then you can reuse it. Okay, but I'm not going to be doing this by hand. And again, sorry, you have your it's 320, then 400, you go to 400, and then you go to 600. And you have grits going up to 1500, okay, depending on what you're doing. Now, I'm going to use my little polyfast here because I do this a lot, and again, I don't have enough muscles to do it. So I'm going to start with 320. Now, if I prepared my clay properly, you can even go down to 80 grit. Okay, it takes off a lot of bumps and lumps, but if you prepare it properly, you'll be, it'll be less work, meaning pet your clay. Okay, so I'm going to just use my machine here, and it's not going to damage the beads, and I'm just going to start buffing. So I'll do the front. I'm going to put a feel here, and then I'm going to do the back. Now, I prepared my clay pretty well, so there's not much sanding involved. But what this does is it's going to shine up the clay. Because you've got little microscopic little valleys in your clay that will minimize the shine, really. That's what it does. So I keep putting it in my water. I keep buffing or sanding. But again, I don't really have to do this too much because I did do a good job with making sure everything was nice and smooth. So I'll do that, and then I'll take this off, and then I'll go to 600, and then I'll continue. So let me sand this up, and I'm going to really show you the difference. Okay, I'll be right back. Okay, so I've sanded. I'm running my thumb across it. It feels like glass. I don't feel any bumps. I don't feel anything. I can totally leave it like this, or I can put a light coat of glaze just to shine it up, as well as the back, or you can put a coat of resin. You can do all kinds of things here just to make it shine, but what I'm going to do and what I do on my pieces, I put a Renaissance wax on, and a little bit goes a very long way. Here, just to show you the difference, this one is with Renaissance wax, and this one isn't. So you see the shine? Now, I am going to do Renaissance wax. So I'm just using like a very soft cloth. This is a little J cloth. I'm just going to dip it, run it in my Renaissance wax a little bit, and I'm just going to run it across and buff. This Renaissance wax is amazing. They use this to shine up old violins and all kinds of things in museums. I read up on it. And it really brings your pieces to life. Look, 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 look at the difference. And of course, I'll do it to the back. And I hope you enjoyed this tutorial as much as I enjoyed making it. There's endless, endless possibilities. And when you add a focal piece like this made out of clay, you will never see another one like it. There's only one. Only one in the world. And I guarantee you, when you wear this, people will stop you and ask you where you got it. Guarantee you, because people stop me all the time. Where'd you get that? I don't see that in stores anywhere. I say, oh, I made it. What? Yep. How'd you do that? Well, you know, I'm an artist. So here you go. I'm going to post a link below where you can get different types of veneers. Believe me, they'll be packaged very well. They're not going to get distorted. And I'll be setting with a sandpaper as well. Oh, I'm so satisfied. Look at that. It doesn't need a glaze. So I put another jump ring here, and you just throw that on a chain, and you've got yourself a beautiful, original, one-of-a-kind pendant. Now, if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. That would be fantastic. And if you think someone else will like this video, you can also share it. Go to my website, jenniferbiedermannjewelry.com. I'm going to have these veneers available. I'm also going to be writing a tutorial, so this will be available also. Now here, I just want to show you my scrap clay pieces that I did. I already sanded them, buffed them, and I put Renaissance wax. And look at this scrap clay. I made a little pendant here, original, one of a kind. You'll never see this anywhere in the world. There's only one. And I'm amazed. I'm just amazed what clay can do. So there's going to be some faux labradite. There's going to be some retro veneers. And anyway, I'm really, really excited. Thank you so much for your patience with this tutorial. There's a lot of steps, but again, I don't like doing things and, assuming you know how to do the rest from A to Z. So that's why I show you how to do it. And I will see you on the next tutorial. Thank you so much for watching. And if you want to buy this, it'll be in my shop. So see you at the next tutorial. Bye for now.